Hello, everyone, and I just dropped my mouse. That is not a good start, but we're gonna overcome this. All right, guys. The notices are just going out, so I'm giving a minute or two for the chat to fill in. Hi, Alexis. Thanks for joining us. We have a very special guest today. We'll get into it, but basically, Mr. Todd, the Flippin Hustler, the Confetti King. What I told people, and I told Todd right before we went live in a little pre-chat discussion, that I'm associating with YouTubers on my channel that are positive because you're some of the people that you associate with. Unfortunately, there's a lot of negativity on YouTube, and like I said, the people in my chat and on my show, multiple time guests, are people that I'm very comfortable with. As you guys know, I've had some medical issues and it's been a little rough the last few weeks. So I basically reached out to Todd and did me a favor. I wanted somebody I was comfortable with discussing this. Again, it's kind of like a Halloween themed show. I don't know how well you guys could say it, but I bought a special shirt. It's got kind of skulls on it, kind of a Halloween themed shirt. I'll mention this now and I'll mention it at the end of the show. But again, I have Todd the Flippin Hustler on my show today. Then this evening, Casey the Rockstar Flipper is having a show a day earlier than his normal Thursday live stream because he has Star down there and some other guests. Keith, Star's husband, is down there with them. So they're hanging out at the Horror Nights or whatever it is. I don't know where it is, but it's somewhere down in the Tampa area. So Casey's doing his show a day earlier this week. And he invited me on to his show. So I don't know what we're going to discuss, but I have my my little shirt and I have my hat. And you guys aren't here to discuss that, but I wanted to let the chat fill in. So let me say hello to a few people, and then we'll roll into Todd. Again, he's making lemonades out of lemons. He'll discuss what's going on here. But again, we had Alexis, we have Roberta, we have Glenn the Swamp Picker, we have Crystal, Rosie's Closet, and we have Miss T, my great find for you. So guys, my head's too big for this hat, but it does look kind of handsome, I think, if I do say so myself. So let me roll into Todd, the Flippin Hustler, the Confetti King, and we'll get this Halloween Eve or Hallows Eve party started. Mr. Todd, the Flippin Hustler, is in his mobile. What's going on?
What's up, guys? How's everyone doing today?
Say hello. Hey, Eric. Why don't you explain to people what's going on here?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I had a VCR that sold, and I send them FedEx ground. Well, I'm in a little tiny town, and the nearest FedEx location is about 25, 30 miles away from me, right, in Fargo. So I got up, said, okay, well, I'm going to go on Adam's show, but I'll just drive up there, and I'll be halfway back, and then I'll jump on the show, and I'll finish off when I get home. So I get ready, I'm driving to Fargo, and I get 10 minutes out of town, and my gut, the whole way out of town, is telling me, don't go. You don't need to go, Todd. Don't go. Don't drive to Fargo. Just turn around, go back home. You'll figure it out. It's going to work out. So I was like, you know what? I turned around on the highway, came back home, went to the post office, checked my mail. No news. No mail's good mail, right? Came home. Oh, there's a FedEx guy. Hold on.
Get him.
All right, hold on. Hey, buddy. I've been waiting for you, man.
How you doing?
So this is actually legit. Todd is actually waiting for
I turned
around and I thought, and I saw you, so I'm so happy.
Well, good.
Yeah.
I'm not even the guy who does this area too, so you're really lucky.
Isn't it Mr. Hale?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
I actually work for a different contractor, but
Really? Man.
yeah, my brother owns Nicholson. So
Oh, really? Isn't that cool? Right place, right time.
Yeah.
You're live. Is that okay?
yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah, I got a YouTube channel on the Flippin Hustler. We do an eBay channel.
Oh, okay.
So you're shipping off the VCR there. I appreciate it. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
We'll see you later.
Guys, again, I've mentioned this multiple times on my show. The only thing that is permanent is change. So Todd had to adopt. He says, what am I going to do? It's snowy around here. I got to get this shipped out. What am I going to do? So
Yep. So I was going to drive up there, didn't, came back, went to the post office, turned left, and there was the FedEx ground guy, like just appeared out of space. And the odds of it are 1 in a million because he said he's not the regular guy.
Yeah.
It's not his route. His brother owns the body shop, and he was just there talking to him for a minute.
By the way, guys, I'm always screwed up with this mirror image on the StreamYard. But this is Mr. Todd the Flippin Hustler, his original mug that he got from Teespring, and I purchased it at auction. So I have some original piece of Mr. Todd the Flippin Hustler's merch. Again, his merch information is in the description below, and also his YouTube channel. So Chandan.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. To you, man. To every flipping hustler out there. And I'll just reiterate one more time for the people that are new or may not have watched or wonder, why does this guy call himself the Flippin' Hustler? That sometimes I wish I would have picked a different name. My mom always says, well, why would anybody want to buy anything that says Flippin' Hustler on it? She used to say that before she became a reseller. Now she gets it. And I say, because anyone that does what we do is a flipper. You're flipping, right? And to make a living at it, you have to hustle. So it's not me, it is, but it isn't. It's a state of mind. Adam is a flipping hustler. So he has one of these. So every time, he drinks, he knows he's flipping hustling. There's a lot of people out there wearing flipping hustler stuff because they believe in it. I wish I would have started the brand now versus a year ago, because I did it wrong. I put the cart before the horse, but now after the fact, I know better. And that's just based on experience, learning. Because initially,
again, you have to adapt. You have to make changes. If your business model isn't working properly, you got to switch things up. And we discuss that all the time. And I discuss that with my guests all the time. It's like, I go back and watch. I tell you guys, I do. I go back and watch my old videos, and I try to pick up little nuggets and from the various sellers I've had on. And there's some neat tips and tricks and whatever. And I go back and I'll say something. And I said, well, I was going to do this. It's like, Adam, you said you're going to do this. You didn't do this. Or Adam, you said you were going to do this, but you did do this. So again, guys, today is Hallows Eve. Pre Halloween. It's actually at All Souls. I remember my Catholic church had all kind of saints days and stuff, and it was I think it was actually a religious holiday or whatever, in the All Souls. So if you want to remember your family members that have passed, that's what I did this morning when I woke up. I remember my family members that have passed. So what we're talking about today is scary things about reselling. I figure a little bit of Halloween theme. You see I got my little skull and crossbones tat on. I got my skull shirt on, and I purchased. I wasn't thrifted, but I did buy it at a discount store. So, I tell you guys, that's how I kind of got involved in reselling, because of my medical issues, and I wasn't able to work a job, and I had to go out on disability. So I do this part-time, and more of a hobby to keep me busy, but eventually I want to gear it up when I get situated in Delaware and a rancher. I want to gear it up a little bit so it can basically just pay my medical expenses, which are pretty pricey. I won't get into that, guys, but since some of my viewers are
Sorry.
you're right there, Ty? Okay.
Yeah, I'm just pulling in my driveway now.
Okay. That's one of the issues too I'm having. Guys, when you price out insurance policies, make sure you get multiple quotes. Again, this is not reselling related. Just real quick, I'm going to touch on it. My prescription plans ran from my cost from $3,000 all the way up to $20,000. I don't have $20,000 to be paying for prescriptions, but that's how much variable there were in the plans. So we're going to let Mr. Ty get into his home, and I'll discuss the first item. And again, this is kind of in the order that I felt were 1 through 9 or 10. The most frightening thing, I believe, again, I told you guys just now that I did this because I had to do it to keep busy and to get into reselling. But there are people that actually get into reselling because of necessity, whether it be they need to take care of their children, or they want to day scare their children. Or whatever reason, they can't work a regular job. So they get into reselling, and they do this full time. So basically they quit their full-time job or part-time job and go into reselling full time. To me, that would be the most scary thing. Leaving a paycheck, a job, and going into the unknown world of the e-commerce, and what I source, is it good items, or are they going to sell? I mean, some days you might have 10 sales, some days you might not have any sales, some days you may go 3-4 days with no sales. So it's scary when you go from a regular job and a paycheck into something where you're strictly commission based or sales based, so to speak. So Ty, you getting set up there, my friend?
Yep, I'm back in the basement, guys.
All right, we'll give Todd about another 30 seconds, and we'll have him jump in the number two. To me, and I've had this happen, and sometimes it's been eBay's fault. Again, I told you guys I predominantly sell on eBay. Again, we discussed that in the past, and I just want to bring it up because when things come up in conversation, I like to, especially important things, I like to reaffirm them, reiterate them. But try to be on multiple platforms, guys. If you're selling eBay predominantly, maybe you want to sell on Macquarie, or you want to do a little bit of Amazon, or you want to do a little bit of Poshmark. Again, I'm on eBay 99%. I do very little local sales, which I want to, when things pick up a little bit, I want to do a little bit more local sales. And eventually I want to get on Amazon. I do have an Amazon program that I purchased with a lot of modules and videos on how to sell, discussing Amazon with the various sellers, including Steve Rakin. He mentioned about getting started by selling books. And one thing about selling books is if you do them fulfilled by Amazon, you don't have to store your inventory in your home. Basically, you're scanning in the things and sending them off to Amazon, and they handle the putting in the system, the shipping, the customer service, et cetera, et cetera. So you made a cha-ching. That was one of the other things going to come up a little later, Kathy. The cha without the ching. So, all right, Todd. So number two was selling an item and not being able to find it.
Whoo, man, I lived it. I've lived it. I learned the hard way, guys. Here's a story about not being able to find an item. So I started my eBay store December 5th of 2016. Everything's trucking right along. March comes along of 2017. That month I had my best month up to that point. I'd only been selling a few months, but I sold $777 worth of stuff, which was relevant to me because my best friend Dave, his pager code was 777. So, and it was the month of my birthday. It was cool. So I was like, okay, great. What happened? So everything was just going great, right? And then fourth quarter rolled around, November, and I didn't have an inventory system set up. Well, I had to cancel 8 orders, right? I didn't understand because I was so new that I didn't understand what the consequences of canceling.
Still there, Todd? Oh, looks like Mr. Todd froze. I'm sure he'll be back. Oh, there you are. You're back. You're back. Yeah, okay. Yeah, a little glitch. Go ahead.
Okay, so where was I at?
Your inventory system.
Okay.
You didn't have an inventory system when you first started.
Did not have an inventory system when I first started. Fourth quarter rolled around. I canceled 8 orders, not knowing the consequences of my actions. And I went from top rated seller to below rated seller like that. I spent the next 10 months as a below rated seller trying to dig my way out of that hole. And I finally did. But not knowing that canceling an order as a new person will just destroy you.
Let me address a little bit of, guys. I put it in the title and the description of the show that we're going to discuss things that were scary about reselling, and we're also going to try to come up with some solutions. If you don't have an inventory system, please input one. We all have, we shouldn't say we all, most of us have inventory systems. There's various videos on YouTube about inventory systems. Beth, the reseller Robo, was just discussing, I believe it was Monday night or Tuesday night when she had her show on with Valerie. She's discussing a new inventory system that she's starting. So again, guys, if you don't have an inventory system, do yourself a favor. I tell people basically what I have big bins on wheels, and I purchased them at IKEA. Hindsight being 2020, they're a little bit larger than what I needed. But what I did was I labeled those bins, A to G. And then when I put my product in there, again, when I started out, I had mostly women's jeans. So I don't have any handy here, but I would have a pair of jeans, and I put them. I tell you guys, I use these twist ties, these great value. Kind of messed up. They used to be called bagel bags. Now they're called bread bags. So they're like 3 cents a piece or whatever. So what I do is I take a Sharpie and I'll put like, A-1, A-2, B-3. And I'll put the product in there, and I'll put the A product in the A bin, the B product in the B bin, et cetera, et cetera. You got to have an inventory system, guys. No matter what it is, you got to have something. Because I was telling somebody, I don't know if it was Todd or somebody I was telling the other day, I literally break out in a cold sweat when I can't find something. And a lot of times, not all the times, but a lot of times it's been eBay's fault. eBay, when they have these glitches, they'll relist something. It's like, wait a minute, didn't I sell that pair of, Tommy Hilfiger size 8 jeans? It says, that sounds familiar.
Yep.
That's another thing that's another thing I wanted to bring up while we're on that subject, guys. Do an occasional inventory. It's very important. Now, granted, I don't have a ton of inventory. Some of you guys might have 300, 400, 500, 600, 1,000, 200, 500, 600, 1,000, 2,000 items. I tell you guys, I'm doing this right now part-time. So I'm going to do a physical inventory and I'm going to check everything because that could be an issue too, because maybe you have something in inventory that you don't have. I mean, you have it listed, you don't physically have it. So you can, solve problems that way by doing a physical inventory. If you have bins, maybe you do, maybe you have let's say you have 1,000 items. So let's just say you have 20 bins with 50 items in each bin. So maybe one day you do, bin, 1 and 2, you do 100 items. The next day you do, 3 and 4. But do physical inventories. I mean, you guys can set your own parameters up when you do them, but it's important that you occasionally do a physical inventory. I mean, I worked retails a lot of year. I worked in wholesale sales, 2 retail stores. There's a reason why stores do inventory, because things disappear. So, hey, there's Mr. Wade in the house.
Hey, what's up, Wade? How you doing,
Wade? All right, so that was selling an item and not being able to find it for shipping. That was the number 2. To me, the number 2 most scary thing.
And that's something that's preventable. That's something.
Right. Again, I said we were trying to discuss solutions and things to help people, avoid these problems. That's something that's, can't always be avoided. If it's an eBay glitch, it happens. But like I said, do that periodic inventory. What I'm going to do is I'm going to print out my sales for the last year. I'm going to cross-reference that to make sure there's nothing that I don't. There's duplicate listing basically, and there's also duplicate listing programs, and I'll put that in the description below. I mentioned that before when I've had some of the various apps and websites that I use and resellers use. I'll put that in there as a duplicate listing tool that you can use for eBay. That'll catch if you have a duplicate listing. Okay, so that was number 2. Number 3, slow or non-existent sales. Why don't you discuss that, Todd? You're Mr. Positively. We're just discussing pre-show about some of the things about what you do and how you deal with tough times. Let's say.
Right. Yeah. So I was just talking to my mom this morning. I talk to her several times a day. She's an eBay reseller. My sister is now full-time eBay reseller, so they're in on it wholeheartedly. So anyway, we talk every day, and because I told her I was doing the show, and she says, well, one of the things that scares me is when I have slow sales, but I'm doing everything that I should be doing. I'm running my promotions, I'm running my sales, I'm refreshing stuff, I'm adding good quality products. She's doing everything that she can, but the sales don't happen. And I say, that is part of the game, Mom. I didn't have sales for 3 days, 0 sales. I've got 900 and something items. That never happens. I thought eBay's broken. It's got to be broken. And then was it yesterday? Day before yesterday, I did $351 in one day. Right. So it's not broken. You just have to keep doing what you're doing, because basically think of it like this. You are a surfer. You're out on the ocean. You're sitting there on your surfboard waiting for that eBay wave to come in. Well, don't just sit there. You got to keep paddling. Paddling represents keep listing, keep changing, keep editing, keep working. So when that wave comes in, you're ready. And then the dam will break, or whatever analogy you want to use, or whatever works best for you. I use multiple analogies in the same story, but
whatever works. I'm following. Go ahead.
Just be ready. Just be ready, man.
I like that paddling. You're paddling for that next perfect wave. Not that I ever surf, but I have seen it.
Right. Yeah. And you have to add items that people want. Make sure
sellable items. Exactly.
Just because you like it doesn't mean everybody is, and we all learn the hard way, and that's part of it. Learn, discard it, and move forward with something better. We were talking about.
I'm sorry. We'll get into that. That's like number 5, finding sellable items. But go ahead.
Yeah, you were talking about wanting to get out of clothes, and so do I. Right. I'm not really. It's not my thing. Doesn't make me excited. But the one thing about clothes that does make me excited is rock and roll t-shirts, old t-shirts,
There you
single
go.
stitch,
Vintage.
street
I had
stars.
Katie and Vicky on, and Katie sells, vintage menswear basically, and we were discussing that.
I sold $145 worth of Bruce Springsteen shirts the other day.
You were saying that. Yep.
Yeah. So out of all the clothes, that is what I'm gonna keep my, I went to Goodwill yesterday. I looked. I did find one Pendleton shirt. They wanted $19.99 for it. I comped it. It was $20. I'm like, what? So I didn't get it. But now that's the only kind of clothes I'm gonna look for is something that makes me happy. Something that, something I like.
Well, that's the thing too. And I was, again, when I was doing prep for the show, I was watching some videos of other resellers, and I had notes. I took more notes, and I was watching some other reselling videos, and trying to come up with a plan for the show today. And one of the UK sellers was talking about that, and he had a video on the top 5 things he doesn't want to sell on eBay, and the top 5 things he wants to sell on eBay. And again, he was kind of like what you had mentioned. He was passionate about certain things, and like clothing, he's not passionate about clothing. He doesn't understand jewelry, so he's not passionate about jewelry, but he's passionate about collectible things, and kitchenware, like collectible, like Tupperware and the Corningware, and old sets. And I'm sure I've passed multiple things in yard sales and garage sales, Corningware and Tupperware that was probably worth money.
Right.
I see it. I see all this glassware and stuff. It's like, holy camole. It's like, I don't want to deal with that stuff. But again, that's something scary too, is shipping breakable items. So we can get into that later. But
yeah, you just have to overcome your fear and do it. It can be done. Others have done it, so that means you too can. Right. My first VCR I shipped, I was pretty scared, but I watched a bunch of videos and then did what others had done before me. I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. I did what others had done and put my spin on it, and now it's like whatever,
Yeah, there's plenty of videos. Like people like Wade have videos, and other resellers have videos on how to pack things. And I don't know if Casey does. I'm pretty sure he does. Casey's done videos of just about everything. But there's some neat videos on how to pack electronics, how to pack breakable items. China in that, not whatnot. Again, there's tricks. I mean, double boxing, and again, I'm not an expert on shipping perishable items, so don't go by me. But I mean, there are tricks, packing supplies and things that you can use, and foam board or styrofoam. Todd was just telling me in a pre-chat how he got a bunch of stuff, dumpster diving, a bunch of shipping supplies, styrofoam boxes, et cetera, et cetera. Again, that's something that's kind of like very near the bottom end of the list, but getting caught dumpster diving when you're looking for supplies, that's a little scary too, at least for me. I've had that happen where I can't hop in a dumpster, but I can kind of slide the side door and look for the shipping supplies. I pulled up to a dumpster, and it's like I go to look in, and I see the security guy pulling right up. It's like, you got to be kidding me! How often do I dumpster dive, and the security guys happen to be sitting right outside there? Okay, so that was number 3, slower non-existent sales. Number 4 are returned errors, item not as described INAG, and the old switcheroos.
The old switcheroos, yeah.
Right.
I haven't had too many of those things happen. The only problem I had was with the swatch. I put it in one of these tubes, a tube like this, which we all know is pretty much unbreakable. But it was in there, and he said when it arrived that it was completely just demolished. And I said, cool, take some pictures of it, and I will send you your money, buddy. He never took pictures of it, and it all worked itself out. But, I think he was just trying to get over.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was telling Todd earlier when I first started out, again, guys, if you're new sellers, I know most of the people in the chat I know are not newer sellers. But that's something that buyers look out for. They look out for sellers with low feedback. When I first started, I had a couple issues. Again, I told you guys I was selling mostly women's jeans when I first started, and I had a really nice pair of women's jeans. Yeah, probably $30, $40 pair of jeans. Not crazy pricey, but I always checked zippers when I was sourcing things at the thrift store. I always checked the zippers before I listed them. I would play with the zipper when I was taking pictures. And this particular person said the zipper was broken. I'm thinking, well, how could I checked the zipper when I purchased it. I checked the zipper when I listed. What are the odds are that I didn't do either of those? So now when I again I'm trying to liquidate the pairs of jeans I have. I told you guys I'm trying to get out of women's clothing. I have most of my stuff. Women's jeans are up, $7 to $15. Most are between like $6 and $10 plus shipping. So I always now I even check it the third time when I go to ship it. I make sure the zipper's working. Another gentleman from Turkey said that the jeans that he had bought from me, 7 of All Mankind, were altered. I know for a fact they weren't altered, but it's like I spent $20 some to ship it to Turkey. Then if you had him return it again, it'd be $20 some to return it. Then if maybe he had a pair that were altered, he could have shipped them back to me. So now I would be out the product plus another $40 some in shipping. So it would have been out $60, $70. It's like, so I ate it. I mean, it was a cost of doing business. So again, that was the old, error or INAT or, potential switcheroo. I mean, I've heard a lot of electronic sellers that have issues. Like you said, you shipped out this VCR, whereas you'll ship something out and then people will use it for parts. They'll take the parts out and then they'll ship you back your product with the parts out. I mean, it happens. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any problems like that, Todd, with your electronics?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. Okay. Yeah, you need a little bit more light there. All right. So that was number 4. And we had already mentioned previously about not being able to find quality items for resale. Again, I want to transition away from clothing. And again, Todd was talking earlier about being passionate about the items that you're selling. If you're not passionate, it makes it difficult. I mean, do I really want to be taking pictures of clothing and measuring clothing and, to make $5, $6, $7? I've discussed this before, your average selling price, your ROI and your return on your investment. So, I mean, the goal is to, and I discussed it last week with Katie and Vicky, the goal is to raise your average selling price and also your return on your investment. So you're not selling things where you're making $5, $6, $7, where you're making, at least for me, where I'm making $15 to $25 per item. So I can sell 1 or 2 items a day and I'm making $25, $30 a day, as opposed to selling, a pair of women's jeans where I'm making $3, $4, or $5. So even if I sell 2 a day, I'm only making 10 a day. And the odds of me selling 2 a day on women's jeans or on things that are a commodity that are oversaturated are pretty slim. So that was the other one we discussed earlier about not being able to find quality items. Now you do a little mix of everything, right? You do, I mean, not all one-offs. I mean, you've done bulk buys. I know you told me about you've had women's bras you've bought in bulk and some other things you bought in bulk. But you do basically one-offs is your model right now, right?
I would say 70% of my stuff is one-offs.
Right.
The other 30% is bras, makeup. I've got.
All right, you got involved in the makeup now. I forgot about that. Right.
And so that was one of my lessons where I learned that you have to enjoy what you're taking pictures of, because that makeup just burned my brain out. Taking pictures of all this makeup, because I don't care about makeup. I don't.
Right.
After doing, yeah.
Now, if you had somebody that wore makeup and was in the makeup, they might enjoy actually doing that.
Right. Yeah. If it was a gal, she'd have been like, woohoo. I was like, oh my gosh, amber, brown, sunset. I don't care, but I got a great deal on it. And so you just make your money when you can make your money. So it's not always about being excited about it. Sometimes you do what you have to do because you got a good deal. You flip it, make the money. But yeah.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
So, okay. Here's another scary thing, and I'm actually going to give you a little bit of a solution to this. Customers saying they didn't receive an item that you shipped to them. Now, I'm sure you've had that happen because you've been in reselling long enough, right?
Yeah. Let me think. Did not receive it. I think there was an issue, and I just stayed in contact with the customer via mail or whatever, and just said, check the tracking, whatever. And then I think eventually it did show up, but in that instance, you just kind of, if it's a big ticket dollar item, especially, but everybody deserves customer service. And if I don't receive something, I want to know what's going on. And whoever's selling it to me, I would hope that they would correspond with me. So you just treat people like you want to be treated, and you'll be just fine. Just treat them like grandma and grandpa, mom, dad. If you treat people like that in everything you do, you'll be just fine.
Well, I've discussed it, and I believe you and I have discussed this before. Under promise and over deliver. I know you were in car sales for a long period of time. You know, even conditions of something. Maybe you list something as good condition, and it's in very good or excellent condition, but you list it as good condition. So when the buyer gets it, it's like, wow, this is really nice. You know, whatever I paid for it is really better condition than what was advertised. I know you do. You're important. You wrap things really nicely. You write a handwritten thank you note. So again, you over deliver.
It, you know, and it does go a long way. So many times people say, Todd, does it matter to do a hand thank you card? Does it matter to put that little extra? And I say it does, because the feedback that I get isn't just regular, oh, I like my product feedback. If you go look at my feedback, it says, this seller is an asset to the eBay community, 5-star, the best ever kind of stuff, literally. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing it right then. So
and plus that makes you feel good about what you're doing too when you get those kind of platitudes.
Absolutely, man. It's like, you know what? Just when you think you have a little bit of self-doubt, because we're all human, we have self-doubt. Just when you think you're not doing it right, someone comes along and says, man, you're doing it better than right. You're crushing it. And then it's like, okay, it's a reminder. But life is ebb and flows. I was talking to Adam earlier about, and this is getting off subject, guys, but you know how
that's fine. I mean, that's the reason you're here. Again, when I discussed earlier in the show when you were trying to fill time, the reason you're here is because you're a friend of mine, and I appreciate your friendship, and I appreciate you being positive and trying to be a positive influence in my life.
Absolutely, Adam. You know, and I don't want people to get the wrong idea and think that I'm Mr. Positivity 100% every day, 24/7. You know, that's not realistic. It's not, you know. But 80% of the time, I'm just like, let's crush it. The other 20%, I'm fighting just like you guys, right? So this morning I came up with this idea. I was talking to my mom, and I said, I think that life is like a blender. It's a blender. And you're already in the blender, right? You're sitting in the blender, and all these things are thrown at you. Todd, he gets swatted, almost dies. Gets hit in the head with the garage door, almost dies. His basement floods, you know, the carpet has to be done, their backyard, the this, that. So all these things for the last year have been thrown at me, right? And then blended. To see, I think it's like
I like that blender noise, by the way.
I think it's the universe saying, okay, we're gonna blend Todd with all these things, and let's see what we come out with. Let's see if he's still standing or if he crumbles. And there's days where I feel like I'm crumbling, but then I have to stop and say, you know what? You've overcome this. You've overcome this. You're a miracle that you're still here. All these things. Yeah, you're good. You're good. And then that leads into being thankful for everything. Your mind, you know, can you form a thought? Can you see what you're looking at? Yesterday, I went to a convenience store and I asked the girl, hi, how you doing today? And she's like, I'm okay. And I was like, you're just okay. She's like, yeah. I was like, well, you can see me, can't you? And you can hear what I'm saying, and you have sense of touch. So you're doing pretty good. And she's like, you know, you're right. And so I was able to change her little way of thinking in a matter of seconds by telling her, be grateful for what you have. Because there's so many people that wish. Think about this. There's people out there that say, gosh, if I only had my eyesight, I could do anything. Or if I only had both my legs, I could do anything. Or if only I could speak, I could do anything. Guess what, guys? 99% of us sitting here looking at the screen have all of those things. So what's the holdup? The brain is the holdup. This negative self-talk, that is everything that holds you up. Now you go ahead and get into that thing about the 5 people that you associate with, because that is key.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, you and I had discussed that, and we discussed about YouTube in general. And I'm trying to associate with positive people. Guys, you'll see me less and less on in YouTube chats. I mean, I on chats and things that people are positive and they enjoy their company. I will watch videos of people that are, you know, educational. But I want to be around positive people. I want positive people to impact my life. I discussed with Todd, and again, guys, I bring it up. It's a recurring theme, which maybe I shouldn't discuss as much as I do, but I do have some medical issues. And And what Todd was talking about, the person at the convenience store. I was telling Todd how I went down to Sam's Club, and in that area there's a lot of retail stores. And one of the places I used to do RA at, I can't do it as much anymore because there's not any margin on it. They jacked their prices up. You know how the thrift stores like Goodwill jacked their prices up. This place jacked the price up. It was all new goods, but basically it was like overstocks and things. So I'm getting out of my car. And it's like, oh geez, my back hurts me. Oh geez, my Achilles that I had replaced, the surgery hurts me. The other ones bother me. So I look out of my car window and I see this gentleman getting out of his car, and he's kind of like hobbling a little bit. I'm thinking, wow, I wonder what kind of medical problem this poor guy has. He comes around the corner. The man had 2 artificial legs. So it's like, here I am complaining that I'm in pain, that I had Achilles tendon surgery and I have a bad back and my other Achilles is bad. This poor man had both his legs, lost both his legs. I mean, I didn't get it. I didn't, reach out to the guy and ask him, were you a veteran? Did this, what happened to you? But it's like, and he seemed to be getting along pretty well. I mean, he was driving a car and he was going into the store, and it's a function of your attitude. And like Todd and I discussed, you're a function of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And again, I want to be around positive people. I mean, I don't see Kimmy in the chat today, or I don't see Tiffany, but Kimmy, Tiffany, Todd are my positivity people. I want to be around positive people. Again, I have enough issues, and the mind is a strong thing, guys. When you think positive things, positive energy, things can happen. Like, look what happened with Todd today. He listened to his guide about not driving up to Fargo. He was thinking positive, and he pulls around the corner, and here a gentleman is with FedEx that's not even supposed to be there. He's actually there to visit his brother. And Todd just happened to pull up on this guy and wait for the guy, and here he saved all this aggravation. He got the product shipped off with the FedEx driver that wasn't even supposed to be there. But
what you put out there in the universe, and I don't say I'm religious, because I'm not. I don't believe in organized religion. I believe that everything is energy. We're energy, and when we go, we all go back to energy. Where does it come from? Something happened. Either way, I believe that what you put out there, energy wise, frequency wise, comes back, and whatever
pay it forward.
Pay
it forward, it comes back to you tenfold or whatever.
Yeah, but what you think about, what you dwell upon with energy, and when you have, you get that tingly feeling inside, or you feel a certain way. When you feel that certain way, and you're thinking whatever it is you're dwelling upon, that thing's going to manifest. It's going to somehow, some way, and maybe good, maybe bad. So after this last summer happened, I'm almost afraid to think sometimes, because I'm like, okay, you better, anytime my brain starts getting wonky, I say, okay, Todd, you know what can happen, because things do happen based on what you're thinking. Right. So be careful, man. And especially the more you believe in your energy and put it out there, the more you're able to make things happen, good or bad. So you have to be careful. And so when it comes back to who you surround yourself with, those 5 people, sometimes it's better to surround yourself with no one. Your family, your family, because if there's no one positive in your life, then don't hang around anyone. Just focus on you, and don't be afraid to step back and away from everything else that's going on, and put 100% of your time and focus on you, because the end result is going to be you're going to turn out better. I was gone for a month away from YouTube, and all I did was grind and just focused on what needed to be taken care of, and that is how I got through this stuff. But it's a daily thing, it's an hourly thing. I'm constantly minding my thoughts.
Well, like we had discussed before, bad things happen to good people. Things that have happened to you over the past year, we don't want to rehash that, but I mean, I had discussed that prior to the show, and it's how you deal with things.
It had to happen.
Yeah,
all those things had to happen, because okay, so if you want to be an icon, or if you want to be somebody, something has to happen to you, right? If you want to be different, you have to be different. And so the recipe was a little bit of this craziness, and a little bit of adversity, and a little bit of trials and tribulations. We're going to stir this all up and create a flippin' hustler, a true flippin' hustler, not someone who says, "Hi, I'm the flippin' hustler," but a guy who's just freaking doing it. for a long time. Okay, up to that first 1,000, I was doing it. I've been doing it. But once I hit that 1,000, it's like, oh my gosh, now I need to put up and just shut up and put up.
Put up or shut up.
and then everything went haywire, and then it created this, and now I'm like, okay, heads on right, everything's good, and but it's all because of bad. All the bad led to the good. It's all, you have to have a strong foundation. So sometimes you have to fall. It's like dropping a ball out of a window, man. You have to fall hard and fast, so you get a really good bounce on the way back up. You know.
Right.
So okay, I'm off on my rant.
I was saying we got a little sidetrack. I'm going to bring it back.
I get crazy.
It's all right, Todd, but that's why you're on the show, because I value you and your positivity. And like I said, we all need some positive energy. We're talking about customers saying they didn't receive an item. Again, tracking. If you send things out through USPS, through your padded flat rate envelope or whatever, you have insurance, you have tracking. You can add tracking if you first class mail. You can add tracking to that. So again, if it's something very expensive, you're going to want to make sure you have insurance, and you're going to want to make sure you have tracking on it. Again, you can buy additional insurance through whatever carrier, through USPS or FedEx or UPS, whatever. But again, if the customer says they didn't receive an item, again, make sure you have your tracking, which you upload to eBay, and then you can have insurance if it's something expensive. And it happens, guys. I mean, I'm a perfect example. My eBay supplies must have been a porch pirate. I mean, it's like, who steals a box of boxes? But it's like, I went out. It was like, I guess I was having one of those days too. And, I get my eBay, my Amazon notice from this. I told you guys before, I belong to an Amazon group. I thought I'd turn off my notifications off. But anyway, so I get a notification. I'm eating my dinner, my late lunch, early dinner. And it's like, I get a notification that UPS was there. It's like, okay, great. I got my eBay supplies. So it's like, this is like 4:30. So I get home, I guess around, I don't know, 6 o'clock. And I'm thinking to myself, there's something I was supposed to do when I got home. It's like, oh, that's right. I got to check on my front step to make sure that my boxes, pick up my boxes. Boxes weren't there. So this is like 2 hours or 2.5 hours after they were supposedly shipped. That somebody, and again, UPS says they delivered them. The eBay supplies, I didn't realize that eBay doesn't do their own supplies. They source that out. They have other companies that do that, and they're branded eBay, but eBay doesn't actually do their own supplies. They have another company, a vendor that does that for them. So they uploaded the tracking information to eBay, and eBay says, well, they'll get back to you a certain period of time, and make sure you follow up. And I told you guys, it's pretty expensive for me to go out to eBay Open. $2,000-ish is what I spent. I go more for the networking and for the little mini vacation. But with that, you get the concierge service. So they're very nice, and it's a US based service, which is nice. And the gentleman told me what I had to do, et cetera, et cetera. So I called back in like 10 days. I said, they sent me this tracking, and it said it was delivered. I said, but either it was delivered somewhere else or a porch pirate took it, because I don't have it. And I said, I'm not going to try to, beat you guys up over, boxes. So the guy says, no, we understand. He goes, so what we'll do is, we'll credit you. I said, well, by the way, I used my eBay coupon, which is $25, but it's $30-some for the purchase price. And what I ordered were boxes for hats. I think they were at a 6x6 by 8 or whatever. So I used them to ship, fitted baseball hats or whatever, because I don't like shipping them out in padded envelopes. I want to make sure they get there safely. So I told them I need to reorder that. So they credited me the full amount. So again, so since it's eBay's vendor, I'm sure they probably credited them as well. But again, it was only $30-some. It's not like they're eating $100-some. But again, guys, the tracking, make sure you upload tracking. And if need be, if it's something expensive, have insurance. So that was number 6 on my list. Number 7 is listing an item and having it sell very quickly. Did you price it too low? Did you list it too low? If you did this long enough, I know we've all had that happen, right? Especially on collectible items. I'm sure you've had that, right, Todd? Where we listed something that sold like within a day or within 12 hours. It's like, why that sell so fast? Did I have it priced too low?
Yeah, totally, man. Totally, it happens. Then you just have to be thankful. You have to stop and say, okay, yes, it sold. I probably listed it too low and whatever, but you probably turned $1 into $150 because you're all excited about it. You're like, gosh, it's you have to. It's all relative, man. Be glad you made the money and move on to the next flip. And it is scary.
Miss Tiffany is joining us. I guess she's in the middle of her Amazon business. She's taking a 15-minute break. So she's a big fan of yours, Todd. And I guess she's kind of a fan of me, too. So she's decided to join us on her break today. So thanks for joining us, Tiffany.
Hi, Tiffany. Thanks for being
here. Your ear should have been ringing. I had mentioned you earlier. I mentioned you, Kimmy, and Todd earlier. So so you should have been, your ear should have been ringing.
You know what, Adam? I need to say hi to everybody because I haven't said
hi
to
anybody. My friend?
Yeah. Okay, so Tiffany, hello. Kathy, hello. Leanie, hello. Who else was here? Lisa C. Hi, Lisa C. Thanks for being here. That's me, Kathy. There's Adam's Expo. Everybody saying hi to everybody. Bougie Bear, Alexis, hello. Head David. Oh, Wade Ventures was here at one point. Jim and Tara are here. Wade, man, I haven't talked to that guy in a while. I need to get a hold of him. He's such a cool dude. He helped me so much. And I don't know, but you know what? Life happens, I think. Uh-oh. Did I lose you?
I got you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you now. So hi to everybody. And if I missed you, hi. I'm glad you're here. Oh, Crystal, my friend Crystal here, Bougie Bear. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Sorry. Go ahead, Adam.
Lynn says you miss Perlini. She misses you.
Perlini, hi, Miss Perlini.
Todd, I miss you with little hearts and little confetti and cheers and.
And time goes by so fast. It was like 7 days ago that I was live last. That week flew by because I was doing my thing, Okay, go ahead.
Okay, well that was getting near the bottom of the list. So these things are just like inconveniences or just annoying, whatever. Number 8 is finding faults in items that you purchased for resale. I won't get into the details, but I had a really neat Nike shirt, and it was I really liked the graphics on it, and I had purchased it at Plato's Closet when they had their clearance sale. So I mean, all these women over there were scoffing up all the a lot of them are resellers. I could tell they're scoffing up all the high end women's clothing. I don't know anything about women's clothing. So well, let me go to the men's. I know a little bit about men's. So I scoffed up this Nike shirt. I kept looking at this shirt. It's like, is that a men's shirt? Is that a women's shirt? It's a large, but it doesn't look that large. So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, I got to list this shirt. So I'm looking at it and I'm looking, it's like, son of a gun. It's got a little bit bigger than a pinhole in the very bottom, like where the seam is, where it's, seam at the bottom of the shirt. I said, I can't sell this. But again, better you find those errors, when you're taking your pictures or before you list something, than shipping something to a customer and either getting negative feedback or getting an IMAT return. Again, but it happens. Again, there's usually very poor lighting in thrift stores. I know when I was buying a lot of clothing at thrift stores, I literally would take my shopping cart and go to the very front of the store in the natural light and try to look over things. And then I would check it again when I was at the counter. The checkout counter, I'd be going through it. Everything I put up on the counter, I would check it one last time before I put it on the counter. And I still miss things. It happens.
Yep.
I'm sure you've purchased things, used things, and you found faults on it after you've purchased them.
Yes.
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 Battery compartments. If I miss a battery compartment,
there you go.
I get it home oh no.
I had that happen to my TV. It's like, I guess the battery was just so old that it broke down in my remote for my TV. It wasn't like it was it was in my bedroom. It wasn't like it was in bad conditions or battery was just probably, I don't know, 5-6 years old.
Yeah. I lucked out. I had 8 of these collectible Coca-Cola semis from 1998 through 2003, I believe. And with C batteries in them, they illuminated with LED lights because they're semis. They're really cool.
Right.
But some of them, batteries were still in them. And I lucked out that they didn't leak.
Right.
Because that would have been bad.
Okay, so that was number 8. Number 9 is I call it the cha without the ching. You know how we all like the eBay cha-chings, but we just get the cha. It's like, oh no, is that a return?
Right.
Is that a question? It's not a sale. I don't get the the PayPal. And I was like, oh, I got a cha without a ching. So I call them questions from buyers. I mean, it could be a return or whatever. But again, that's towards the bottom of the list. But it happens to the best of us. You know, it could be a question. And it's funny. I told you I was on my prep for the show, and I was watching this gentleman from the UK, and he was talking about he always overprices his items a little bit, and then he has best offer on them, so that if somebody wants to pay, buy it now price, that's fine. They pay the buy it now price, but if they want to negotiate a little bit, he has a little bit of wiggle room in there. So he's best offer. So and so then if you get somebody that gives him a really low best offer, what he does is he goes and he blocks that buyer. So I blocked like buyers that have returned things because I figured if I thought they were scamming me, I would block them. But I guess there must be a way. I'll have to figure that out, how you can block someone while they're in the middle of a transaction. I guess as long as they haven't purchased something, I guess you can block them prior to them purchasing. I never tried it, but I mean that was his thing. It's like if somebody has like really low feedback or whatever, or they're asking a lot of questions. Again, guys, and we've all experienced that just from experience. Let's say if you get somebody to ask you a lot of questions, they're a really finicky buyer, and they're really very picky. And I would say 90 times out of 100, they're going to be a problem buyer if they ask you a bunch of questions, especially when you already have it in your listing. How do these fit? I mean, I used to have to get all the time on women's jeans, like, how do they fit? Well, I said, do yourself a favor and me a favor. Please don't buy these jeans, because if you haven't purchased them before in that particular type of jean, that particular size and that particular fit, every jean fits differently. So do yourself a favor and purchase from someone else. Maybe not the nicest thing to say, but it's honest. We have Lisa and Donatello joining us in the chat. Thanks for joining us, ladies. But I mean, you got to do what you got to do. So that was number 9. Anything else that you have on your mental list, Todd?
Yeah, scary things that happen.
Right. Who was your buddy there?
Oh, this is Miss Violet. Say hi, Violet.
Miss Violet.
Hi, she just wants hugs. She likes hugs and kisses. She's the most friendly pit bull you'll ever meet. She's a pit bull black lab mix. Anyway, so last week I sold a pair of Wrangler jeans. There were these special jeans that had this brown stuff. They were like heavy duty, right? And I sold them. And I thought, wait a sec, I think I sold those. I couldn't find them in my inventory. So I highlighted my title, put it in the solds, went and checked. Oh yeah, I did sell them back September 12th. Somehow they got relisted. I didn't relist them.
We discussed that earlier, how it happens, right? A glitch.
Yep. So I called up eBay and said, hey man, and I was like, I've been doing this 3 years. I know what to do and what not to do as far as relisting, and I did not do this. Anyways, I was able to cancel it without any repercussions against me because it was their error. So don't be afraid to stick up for yourself. And, by building your reputation, that gives you a leg to stand on, because whenever they start giving me a lip, I'm like, you know what? Look at my file. Check me out. Look at my reputation. Then come tell me, But if you're messing up and then you call in, then you don't have a leg to stand on.
True.
Yep. I'm never afraid that I'm not going to find anything. That doesn't scare me, because there's stuff everywhere. My fear is that I buy the wrong things.
Well, that happens.
Invest my money unmeaningfully.
Right.
Another thing is overspending. I mean, because we could all go buy and 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 just keep buying, but you got to keep selling it too, right?
True.
You got to know when the breaking point is. You got to stop, get everything handled, but it's hard not to just go and buy something. Yesterday, I bought a Baywatch Jeep from the 90s for $299. It goes for $15. I can't not turn, I see opportunity. I can't say no, So
well, that's the old saying too. Again, guys, apply this as it may be, but it's best to go a mile wide and an inch deep, wide and narrow, as opposed to very deep and narrow. So in other words, buying a lot of one particular item and then finding out it's not saleable. I know I've heard stories from you and from other buyers, resellers. They'll go and maybe buy like 6 of something. and then they'll try it, see how it sells. And then if it sells, they'll go back and maybe buy another 10 of it. So again, wide and narrow as opposed to narrow and deep. You know, you don't know. I mean, until you try it, you don't know. Yep. Thank you, Donatello. The skull and crossbones doesn't really fit my big head, but and this shirt again, I bought this. This has skulls on it too. This is my Halloween theme. Just coming back to that, just to remind you guys, I will be on. I told you guys earlier. If you join the show later, I'm going to be on Casey the Rockstar Flipper show this evening. I believe at his normal time at 9 p.m. He's having a day early because he's going to Halloween Horror Nights with Star Keith and the crew. So he's doing a show a day earlier, and he invited me on to be one of his guests. So just keep that in mind, guys. And when I get the link, Casey posts a link, I'll post that up on my page as well. So what else? We're going to wrap this up shortly, Todd. Is there anything else that you're, as far as the scary things about reselling, you want to address?
It's all scary. Every day is scary, you know, because we don't know what's going to happen, but we can only, the way to alleviate the fear is to control what you can control, know that things are going to happen, and all you can do is respond to them. You know, when things happen, don't just freak out and knee-jerk reaction to it. Most people react. Don't react. Take a step back, say, okay, what is happening? What can I do about it? How can I change it? And how can I move forward? And then move forward, man. And that is going to be a daily thing in reselling. Because whether you're trying to figure out how to set your inventory system up, whether you're trying to figure out a new platform, there's always going to be something that scares you, because anything new is scary, right? So don't be afraid.
That was the other thing too. I had taken notes upstairs, and I didn't transfer it to my other sheet. But that's another thing that's kind of scary, trying new platforms. I know I mentioned it multiple times on my show with the various guests I've had on. It's best to start out with something like eBay or Macquarie. Don't jump right into Amazon. I mean, I know people like Tiffany have jumped right into Amazon, been extremely successful, but Amazon is a 600-pound gorilla, and they don't tolerate a lot of mistakes. So I mean, learn shipping, learn purchasing, and etc., and the customer service. Learn that on the other platforms before you hop in full-fledged. I mean, typically that's my advice to most people before you hop into Amazon. Again, the other thing is too, having multiple sources of income, multiple platforms. Just don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't be just on eBay. You know, be on eBay and maybe Macquarie. You know, if you want to do some Amazon. Again, there's cross-listing services like List Perfectly. I know some of the other sellers like Wade and Casey promote List Perfectly, and Katie and Vicky promote List Perfectly. You can cross-post. You know, an opportunity, and again, have multiple streams of income. You don't want to, like, just say if you're just on Amazon, you're doing a great business on Amazon. All of a sudden, Amazon says you violated their terms of service, and they decide to suspend you or to kick you off the platform. You know, then what do you do, especially when it's your sole source of income?
Yep. You know, don't be afraid to be afraid, because growth comes from discomfort. You know. Discomfort, absolutely. You know, you don't get big muscles by not having pain.
That's true.
So
no pain, no gain, right?
Speed bumps, those build your character, man, and that is ultimately what your foundation is built on. So don't welcome them, but you know, when they come, and they're going to come,
embrace them, right?
Accept it, embrace it, man.
Right.
And say, how am I
going to get past this, right?
Yep. So don't be afraid to be afraid.
True.
Because that's how you do it.
Definitely, that's why I have him on my channel. He's my friend, and he's very motivational, and that's why I like to have Todd in my life. He's a great man, and he's very motivational. And I'm happy to consider him my friend.
I appreciate you too.
Okay, so guys, I value Todd's time, and he has to pick up Little Flipper shortly. Are there any questions last minute if you want to ask Todd, and then we'll wrap things up so he can get back to his business and pick up his little mini-me, his little flipper at school. Are there any questions, guys? So we'll give it like 30 seconds or a minute or so to fill into there's a little bit of a lag typically on StreamYard. So, hey, Aaron, thanks for joining us.
Aaron Marcus.
Yes.
Hey, Aaron, how you doing, buddy? My grapevine for you. Hello, Donatella. Hello. Thanks for being here. You know, I've been talking to another friend of ours, Justin Jacobs. you know, I'll pick up the phone and call you guys versus coming on YouTube doing the chat. I'm going back to 1977 and I will say, hi, what are you doing? You know,
In 1977,
remember those
right?
days?
You're still back in
Yeah.
that pager era, Todd. The 1438. Show it.
1-4-3-8, baby. Always 1-4-3-8.
And
Yeah.
again, this is Mr. Todd's mug, the Flippin' Hustler, and his merch link is in the description below. So if you want to support Mr. Todd and get a little bit of his positive energy in your life, the link's there for his Teespring store.
And you know, guys, when I set that Teespring up, thanks, Adam. When I set that up, I put everything at the bare minimum prices on a lot of stuff. So I'm
That's true. You have very small margins on those. Yep.
Yeah, because I'm not trying to make money off it. I'm trying to allow people to embrace themselves and their lifestyle as a flippin' hustler.
Right.
Yep. All right, buddy. Well, you have a great day.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think we were all questioned out.
All right.
Again, guys, I'll post a link to the Casey's show tonight. Like I said, I'm going to be a guest on Casey the Rockstar Flipper show. I'll post the link in my probably on my personal page and on Adam's Exploits and also on Reselling Rhythms Facebook page. So if you guys want to join us and show me some love, and I'd appreciate it. All right, guys. Again, typically my show is a live stream on every Wednesday and normally at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Today we had Todd on, so I wanted to accommodate his schedule a little bit. Again, there's lots of interviews with various other resellers, a lot of gems and little nuggets, I call them, on the show. So again, please like, subscribe, share, and comment, and we shall see you next time. Thanks for being here, everybody.
See you later, guys. 1438.